Hey there, listener. Before we get started, if you'd like to support WordPress community member Andrei Savchenko or anyone else in the Ukraine, please see the donation link in the episode details.
She can come up with the topic ideas. So you can say, I want to talk about the history of gelato, for instance. How did gelato get started in New York? And Bertha knows all that kind of stuff. But that can, in an about us kind of page, that can help you. You know, you got a little bit of history, and then you can go. So we decided to do our own version of gelato or whatever. Bertha helps you with your mission statement. It helps you with your PAS frameworks, and that's exactly what Bertha will do.
This episode is brought to you by Malcare at malcare.com. It's the most complete and comprehensive tool to secure and protect your high-performance WordPress website. If you're a WordPress consultant, don't leave the job of security, backup, and fixing the site when bad things happen up to your hosting provider. Trust me, you want Malcare on your side. They do it best without you even having to think about it. Sleep better at night knowing your WordPress websites, your clients' WordPress websites, are protected by Malcare. Malcare does it all, from protecting the site, backing up your files, creating staging sites, if you can believe it, and my favorite feature, the activity log. That's right, you'll know when your client or your marketing manager installed that pesky block plugin that took down the whole site. What are you waiting for? Check out malcare.com to get started for free. That's malcare.com, malcare.com. Thanks for supporting the show. I can comfortably admit that I didn't see artificial intelligence as the next big thing for WordPress in 2022. The march to Gutenberg and full-site editing adoption across the product landscape is sure to reveal new opportunities to be introduced to our favorite low-code software. AI, however, wasn't even close to what I was expecting to be the next big thing for us. Bertha.ai is an all-new solution for helping users craft a near infinite amount of text for your WordPress website. From H1s to entire blog posts, what Vito Pellig and Andrew Palmer are creating with this tool is quite impressive. Let's get the elephant, yes, the real one, out of the room first, shall we? Bertha isn't leading us to copywriter extinction. Hearing from Andrew in today's interview, Bertha should still be used as your writing assistant, not your writer. You can give the AI assistant the ideas, the direction, and what you want to focus on, but will still require some editing chops to refine it. It's still a darn good tool, though. You can download Bertha for free in WordPress.org to try it yourself, and consider supporting the Matt Report before the robots do take over all of our jobs. buymeacoffee.com/Matt Report. I think you said you maybe own a little interest in a pizza shop at one point. I think I might have heard that.
No, we started a pizza shop. My friend Danny and I started a pizza shop 6 years ago now, and I still have a little interest in it, but basically after about 7 months, when it paid everything back, I said, look, I need to concentrate on other stuff. And he said, yeah, that's fine. And bought me out of my shareholding more or less. But I still get free pizza, and I still have to manage the point of sale system and stuff. So I'm still involved in the business, which is great, but it's a nice distraction as well when you're involved in a bricks and mortar business and meetings, ad hoc meetings, or phone. I get a phone call from Danny and saying, what do I do about this? It's nice to feel a little bit involved, but I'm not in it now, really. I still own a bit of it, but not much.
I feel like the customer service from selling a $5 slice of pizza can scale infinitely to even a $5,000 website or a $50,000 project. There's so much to know about the basics of customer service that happens in a pizza shop, a sandwich shop, a bakery, that a lot of us in the software world just don't get, because a lot of the software sales are just done behind the screen. It's through email. Now it's more Zoom and maybe face-to-face, but still largely it's social media interaction and just selling through text on a screen. There's probably something to be said. I don't know what there is to be said about selling a slice of pizza is like selling a $5,000 website, but I'm sure there's like a thread of commonality in that experience.
Well, actually, you're really on point there, because pizza's pretty much on demand. And especially through COVID, we had a very lucky escape as a pizza restaurant, because we immediately transitioned from a 42 cover restaurant to just takeaway and collection and delivering through Deliveroo and Uber and all that kind of stuff. And also now there's 7 drivers of our own. So that's an on cost. But pizza's on demand. And look at the web world, how much on demand it is. I want a website now, especially during the COVID period of the real lockdowns. We were doing websites on demand and we're building them in a day just to get them out there, and then obviously maintaining them and getting them there. Social media, Twitter, you've seen Twitter, the almost instantaneous response that people require, people telling people that they're not doing things. So those people then have to act on that and then do a blog post to say that we're really trying to do things right. Over the last few weeks, we've had a few spits and spats going on. But running a business is the same whether it's brick and mortar or not. With brick and mortar, you have a lot of overhead. You have the heat, light, power, especially a pizza place. You have the food supply issues. We've had food supply issues in this country for a while. People have blamed it on Brexit. It's not Brexit. It's just that there is a food supply issue. Flour is difficult to get over from Italy, not because of Brexit, because of the demand. Fruit and veg, potatoes went up, for instance, from, let's say, $5 for 56-pound sack of potatoes. They went up to $15 overnight.
Wow.
So it's just the way, and then you've got to put that into your margins. If you're a fish and chip shop, or if you're a restaurant and you're using fresh potatoes, do you really charge $5 for those chips, or for French fries, as you guys call them, or do you continue charging $3.50 or £3.50? So you have to make those kind of decisions. Wages have gone up because people are working longer hours, staffing shortages as well. So we're experiencing that in the web world. And one of the things that I've seen is hosting companies buying plugin companies and other companies. And effectively, because they have the money, they're buying out the developers that I want to use. And I can't go to the 150 grand a year with the benefits and with the holidays and with everything in there. So you still have to, you have to run your business very, very carefully, very properly.
I recently interviewed Brian Gardner, and I kind of said that to him. Brian Gardner built out what was known as Studio Press, eventually sells it to WP Engine, works there for a stint, leaves, creates Frost, sells it back to WP Engine, and then gets a job, or they maybe fell out of that order, but is still, what I said was, hey, this product game, creating micro products, not that Frost is a micro product, but even in today's world, you could build a micro product to get acqui-hired. Like it's almost like your resume, to build a little product to show off what you can do and then sell that to get hired. Like it's almost like brands will buy that these days because it's so hard to get somebody, even if you only have 500 customers.
Well, that's exactly what Extendify did. We had a vendor on Elegant Marketplace who became a very good friend of mine, Munir Kamat, who built Editor Plus, which he's celebrating today. As of today, the 14th, whatever date you're putting this out, but 7,000 downloads on WordPress.org. And I introduced him to Chris Lubkert of Extendify. Chris ends up buying Page Editor Plus, whatever Munir's doing. So that's how this happens. People go out and they see these developers doing great work, and they say, I want him on my team, or I want his team on my team, because Munir has got a team behind him as well, as I have. I'm not looking to get bought again quite so soon. We've got Bertha.ai, we've got WPPluginsPlus.com, which has got 23 plugins for Elementor and Divi, serving 200,000 people. We've got 200,000 active plugins out there. So we're quite busy just getting on with it.
What have you thought about going that route with adding to the portfolio of, and look, this is a preface to get into, I want to talk about like the competitive landscape of Gutenberg. I put out a video over the weekend about Gutenberg and how I think that it's actually a different future for page builders. And we can talk about that in a moment, but have you felt like the need to, okay, man, it's tough to hire somebody just straight salary. Maybe I have to go the route and knock on a small plugin or product creator's door and say, hey, I'll buy those 4,000 installs from you and you join the company as a senior developer or anything like that. Is that something you're actively exploring? It's
something I do, but I do it in a different way. With S.M. Amdani, who lives in Pakistan, he approached me and said, look, I'm building this thing out, but I need some finance behind it, and I need to get it. So we're basically a joint venture, both co-founders of it, and it's GutenbergAI.com. So if people go to try.GutenbergAI.com, you can see if you upload an Elementor layout, you can see the progress that we're making. We were selling it, and then I decided not to sell it because it's not 99% perfect. And for me, it needs to be to keep the support burden down, to keep the complaints down, the user experience as best as it can be. It needs to work as a plugin. But if you go to try.gutenberg.ai, you'll see that it actually does work with most Elementor layouts, and things are missing. But if they're using third-party plugins, we can't be perfect. But we've got Blocks Bakery as well, which is on wppluginsplus.com, and that's a Gutenberg Blocks plugin that works with Gutenberg AI. So I'm looking to increase on that, but my focus really is on my agency, which is WP Plugins, and Bertha. That's the real focus, because my agency has got, I don't know, 500 websites that we host. If we're stuck for a bit of web design, we'll just ring one of those guys up and say, look, a couple of grand, we'll redo your website. And people go, oh, yeah, great. Okay, we'll do. But I get approached all the time by, a plugin developer, a theme developer approached me the other day and said, how can we work together? And I said, after I finished with everything else that I'm doing, because I'm just too busy, really. You've got to be focused on what you're doing. And if you're not focused, you'll lose traction more than anything else.
I've been saying this for a while, and it's good to hear that people are knocking on your door. I've talked to other folks. The same thing is happening where, look, if you're in this game, it's easy to sit behind your computer and say, man, I'm going to build this product. It's going to change the world. Everyone will want it. I will just price it at $29 for the year, and I'll just sell a whole bunch, and that'll be the ticket to the promised land. Sadly, these days, it's going to be quite challenging to do that. And you know what? I look at now with the products and the services that I've built, look, sometimes you just have to be real with yourself, partner up with somebody, and you don't have to try to own the world with your one thing. And especially if it's your first one or two products that you've ever created, you know what? You're going to learn a lot if you try to partner up with somebody, and even just get acquired by somebody to stay on the job and build it out, because there's so much to learn still if you're a young product owner, unless you're building this unicorn thing. If you're slow paced in the WordPress space, I say partner up with somebody, partner up with an agency, a marketer, somebody that offsets your skill set for sure, because it's a long road in this competitive landscape.
I 100% agree. And I had, one of my best friends, Sean Barton, who's a fantastic plugin developer, but he's not a marketeer or a marketer, however you guys want to say it. But with the plugins that I own, I've acquired them from him because he's busy doing other stuff. So I said, look, I'll take him over. I've got the platform. I've got the Easy Digital Downloads license. I can do everything on that. I'll pay you out over time, whatever. And I did the same with Page Builder Cloud and Layouts. And I sold my half to Melissa Love, who's in partnership with Sean, because she's the marketer, he's the developer, and he's an awesome developer. And I think that's the way it should go, because you need somebody to do the marketing. You need somebody to care about the product. Whereas a developer will kind of think it does this, but why? Why does it do that? Where's the need? Where's the desire for somebody to use this? It's okay. So there's a new plugin come out today. It lets you read the SQL queries in WordPress in the actual dashboard. Why would you want to do that? I just don't get it. You could just log into your hosting and view the SQL and do a query. Somebody wants to do it, but I don't really see why. Then that opens up the dashboard to maybe another. If you get hacked, everyone can see your SQL. I don't get it. But for useful plugins, and now with Gutenberg blocks coming in big time, Cadence and Blocksy and all these great people that are really working hard, Matt. What is the differentiator going to be? I've got a great block plugin. So what? There's 750 out there already. You've got to make it so good these days. And also, WordPress as WordPress doesn't really let you market it. You can put it on .org. You can try and SEO the heck out of it. You can tell people it's on there, but you're not really allowed to put any marketing speak in there or upsells or anything like that. And I think WordPress as WordPress, the repository, kind of needs to revisit that for people. If Automatic are allowed to make money and upsell, then us mere mortals need to be able to do that as well.
I've seen other folks say it as well, is, hey, can we at least, if we're not going to build a proper marketplace, and I know you have experience in marketplaces, if we're not going to build a marketplace, because it's easy for us to say, yeah, .org should just become a marketplace. But at that scale, I'm sure you're laughing to yourself saying, yeah, good luck. It's a great idea, but it's just not going to be a flip of a switch. And then all of a sudden, billions of dollars, because, I think there's $1 billion running through .org. $1 billion is not going to get processed overnight, or have the staff or the search or the deliverables of, what, like Theme Forest did. And this would be Theme Forest on steroids times 20 is
Well,
what I would
also
imagine.
you would also have the marketplaces rebelling against you for doing that, because it would
Right.
immediately Elegant Themes, the owners of Divi, started a marketplace. That's a proper kick in the shin to people like Divi Cake, Divi.space, Elegant Marketplace, because we helped them build up, but they saw the value of a marketplace, and people are making fortunes on there. So I'm not too distressed, because I don't own Elegant Marketplace now. The timing was right when I sold it. But for a theme like Divi with 750,000 live installs, to actually have a built-in marketplace was a kind of a kick in the teeth to the people that helped them grow that business to 750,000. And I've said this to Nick personally. I met up with him in kind of, I rephrased it. I said, "Do you want to kiss me before you kick me in the nuts?" So it's kind of, it's just a kind of a thing. But fair play to them. It's a massive success, and it's making a lot of people a lot of money, which is great. But the same kind of criticism might go through to WordPress.org. What I want to see is, for WordPress.org, what I prefer to see is the ability to actually say or highlight the fact that the pro version is so much better, and you would be supporting the developer rather than that donate button that you can put on, which is great. People can donate, but make people realize that WordPress is a commercial opportunity for people. I did a talk years ago at Bristol Meetup about, if you're a developer, a coder, don't be afraid of page builders. Use them to be able to monetize your other skills. So build out your website really quickly with Beaver Builder, Divi, Elementor, whatever was around at the time, but then make your difference by being that coder that can build out a website really quickly and then build in the functionality. And WordPress.org really needs to allow people to build in licensing properly into the plugins on .org. Freemius have kind of got around that by I don't know how they've got around it. I talked to Vova, but he won't tell me how he's got around it. I kind of sussed it, but and we're allowed to put upsells into the plugin itself, but I don't like them appearing on the dashboard. I'm kind of on the fence with this. I'm against plugins promoting in the actual dashboard, but I'm for plugins promoting in their own dashboard. So, for instance, Bertha has its own dashboard, and it tells you upgrade if you want to, or if you run out of words, upgrade. And I think that's completely fine.
I was thinking the other day that, well, maybe page builders, like right now we say, what's the best WordPress page builders, or building a WordPress page builder is very difficult because there's a lot of competition. I started to think, well, gee, Matt the other day in the State of the Word said that Gutenberg is bigger than WordPress. So I started thinking, well, maybe the issue is for page builders specifically, where you're trying to build your page builder solution inside of WordPress. And oh, by the way, full site editing just got released. So layout changes and customizing templates is going to be happening by core. That was largely a value add for page builders. Maybe page builders just have to be called page builders now, and immediately go the route of self-hosted SaaS solution, because that's what they're all aiming for anyway as an eventual outcome. And then just adopt Gutenberg as your open source tooling to make the job easier. Like, they all pick WordPress because you've got the distribution, you've got the platform, you've got user logins and all that stuff, and everybody's hosting their sites. Well, maybe page builders could leverage whatever fast technology they want to build the framework of a website, and then they just adopt Gutenberg as the editing experience for that website, which kind of gives back to Matt's future vision of Gutenberg being bigger than WordPress. Now we start to see in a future where the numbers get lopsided, where the internet has a bigger distribution of Gutenberg than there are of WordPress websites. Big grenade tossed your way. What do you think about monetizing the future of page builders, or just seeing Gutenberg extend itself beyond WordPress?
I don't know how Gutenberg will extend itself behind WordPress because it's core to WordPress. So I'm not that technically adept to think that question. It's a bit of a drive-by shooting. Thanks for that. But page builders, the beauty of page builders, when I discovered Divi, it was a block. So they should have patented the thing called block, but Nick missed a trick on that. When I looked at Beaver Builder and Elementor when it first came out, I had a good old chat with Yoni and Ben when they first launched. We actually interviewed them on Elegant Marketplace. And I thought it was absolutely phenomenal because you can drag and drop and place and do columns and do nice, easy, mobile first design, which is, I think we should all start. And we're having to go at my developers and saying, think mobile first, idiots, what's going on? And then, oh God, because you can build a great website on a desktop. It will look great. And then you throw it on a mobile. I know there's 84 different devices out there, but you still got to think mobile first. And it will look crap. And that's the problem with WordPress Gutenberg. Making it mobile friendly is frankly a nightmare. And they haven't thought about that. So the page builders had thought about that you can have it with Divi, you can have different views. They've got different techniques for and learning for making your site pretty much word mobile friendly. Divi also, I seem to remember, have a block or a Divi module, as they now call them, for a Gutenberg block. So you can place Gutenberg within Divi. But if you go back to the fact that WordPress was originally Mike Little and Matt Mullenweg designed it as a blogging platform or came from the blogging world, I think page builders should stay away from the posts, right? Not CPT, not custom post types, but from posts. So allow people to blog using Gutenberg, because I think it's a phenomenally fast way to blog out there, and keep the page builders for the theming and for the prettiness and for the motion and for the pop-ups elements. As a plugin a couple of years ago, I think, put pop-ups into their page builder. So that destroyed all the pop-up market. Plugins that go, what? And we designed the Divi, sort of the Elementor form plugin, which allowed you to capture the data on actually within the website. Lo and behold, 6 months later, it's in core of Elementor. And that's the risk you take as a plugin developer. And that's the risk you're going to take, Matt, as a Gutenberg block developer, because Matt might look at it one day and go, oh, we can do that. We can put a slider in. We can put multiple columns. We can do the mobile stuff. But for Divi itself, Elementor have done it. $89 a year. You get Elementor Pro and hosting. I'm going to spend $89 and do it because I want to see what the hosting is like, because I use GridPane to manage all my hosting on different servers and stuff like that. And I love it. But so I want to see what the speed is like and what the actual experience is like. Divi, I think, will go that way. They offer hosting through SiteGround, even Bluehost, and even HostGator. I think they recommend these people because if you've got a license, you can install it on any one of those hosts, and they'll install Divi, and then all you do is you copy and paste your license. So it's a one-click install. And a lot of the hosts are going that way. Look at Cloudways doing they'll install the Visual Composer onto a thing with you. So I think that's the way the market is going. Hosts and host type providers like GridPane, Cloudways, RunCloud, they will auto install the theme of your choice, the page builder of your choice, on the hosting. So I'm not sure the page builders are too worried about Gutenberg becoming the de facto. Yeah. But they're working towards making sure that they work together in sync, if you like, rather than making Gutenberg come to the top. Otherwise, the differentiator isn't there. And Gutenberg, you can't drag and drop as yet. You can in the sidebar, but you can't really manipulate it as you would a page builder.
I think he looks at Gutenberg as, look, I can actually make this thing impact the internet versus WordPress just impacting websites. Like he's accomplished that with websites to a massive degree with this 40, last I checked was 43%
Sure.
for websites. And I think there's a future where he sees Gutenberg just being, could possibly be the interface on an Apple device. It could be the interface on a refrigerator that you're typing or moving blocks around. I think that's the kind of crazy vision he might have for that.
Well, I think you're right, because it's built on React and JavaScript, isn't it? So when I think it was one WordCamp, it was a US-based WordCamp, probably the second one I went to, could have been St. Louis, or it could have been Boston, or one of them, a big one where he appeared. And I remember him standing up there, and for Matt, he doesn't really shout, but he literally shouted out, learn JavaScript. It's important. So everyone remembers that. But it would be interesting, now I'm thinking about it, because I know I've just remembered how it's built. It could go into anything. Could it go into Shopify? Could you have Gutenberg blocks in Shopify or Squarespace or Wix even? That would be amusing. Yeah. Seeing Gutenberg in Wix, wouldn't it?
100%. All right. So instead of solving the world's problems through page builders and visual design and your agency, you come up with this crazy idea to create text through artificial intelligence. How the heck did you land on this idea with Bertha.ai?
Wasn't my idea. I hate it. I just really hate to say it. It's just not my idea. Damn it. It was the inimitable Vito Peleg, who is a very great friend of mine and my business partner. So we have no...
Are you local to each other? Like within
we are now, because I've recently moved house. So we're now an hour away. We're 30 minutes away from each other. But he doesn't drive. It's me that's got to do all the traveling, because he's glued to his desk, man. He's just had a baby. Throws the lovely Liv out to a childminder and just get glued to his desk all the time because of Atarim and stuff like that. But he approached me because he's obviously got Atarim. That's doing pretty well, and he wanted to have artificial intelligence on the notepads of Atarim, which is basically a feedback tool. And then he thought, I could make this bigger. So he'd already done all the research with OpenAI. He'd already written a couple of prompts. And then decided that he was just his team of, I think he's got 9 now, were just too busy. So he came to me and just made me busier than I am. And I just said, yeah, okay, I'll do it, and I'll finance it. And of course, I've got £2
Hold on
left.
while I order this sack of potatoes.
Yeah, exactly.
And some lettuce.
But it was it was an instantaneous decision. He said, I got this. And I went, okay, what is it going to cost? And he told me what it's going to cost. And I went, oh, God. That's my holiday out the window for the next 5 years. But it basically, my team had to learn OpenAI. I had to learn OpenAI. I had to learn how to write prompts. I've written about 3 of them, and Vito's written about 80, 90, 85%. My guys have studied it intently and everything, and how to get the information back. But because we build websites, and we have built websites, I've built over 2,000 websites in my career, so it's been quite a long career. Vito's built 1,500 or something in a very short period of time, and we know that what people want is pretty similar. It's a header, it's a footer, it's the middle, it's the blurbs, it's the calls to action, it's the PAS, it's the ADA marketing frameworks that you want to use, and it's just generating text quickly. So we built it out, and we started in May, and we launched in September, and we've now got 2,500 users, which is great, because we came up with a phrase. We have marketing meeting every Tuesday, or a dev meeting / marketing meeting every Tuesday, and I came up with the phrase that I want Bertha to be the Grammarly of AI for WordPress. So we're basically giving everything away for free, apart from long form, and for 1,000 words for the time being. I just want people to see the power of it. But effectively, I've now built 12 websites with it since we launched it, and my clients are amazed at the fact that I can put content in it at the same time without any kind of delay. Because as we're building out, we're putting in the CTO, we're putting in the call to actions, we're putting in the blurb information. This is from cryptocurrency as well, right through to florists, catering, restaurants. One of my niches is restaurants, because I used to be a chef. I used to have a couple of restaurants as well, and obviously the pizza place helps. So I help restaurants market themselves as well on the web.
Yeah.
So there is nothing that Bertha can't write about. You still have to think of Bertha as that person sitting next to you that comes up with the idea and frameworks for what you want to say, and you are the editor. So she's the journalist going out there saying, writing all the stuff, doing all the research, because all the research has been done. You put in one sentence or a paragraph and press a click, and your blurb's done, your paragraph's done. And with long form, you can literally write thousands of words in an hour. Right. Really, and edit it and stuff like that. So that's really quite intriguing. And one of our clients came up with the lorem. Bertha is the lorem ipsum killer. And to be able to kill lorem ipsum, how many times, Matt, have you shown a layout to a customer, a website to a customer, and they said, "Why have you put Greek in there?" And you've gone, actually, it's Latin, but it's lorem ipsum. Yeah. You can write a blog post about anything. One of our greatest decisions was to employ Imran Siddiq, who is a great Elementor user and a great teacher on Web Squadron, on building websites out. And he did a review screaming about how good Bertha was. And it was really funny and it was lovely. So we asked him literally last month, beginning of January. Is it February now? Yeah, beginning of January. And he has done 51 tutorial videos already because he absolutely adores the product. So we've got the Learning Academy there. We're slowly teaching people how to do it. So that's how it started, and that's how it's going to continue.
So it's just like one of those things where now you're not just creating a block. I'm sure you'll have more competition in the future, but this is not something that is as easy for somebody to put together as like, I'm going to do another pricing grid block and I'm going to build that to compete with you. This is a space that you can really sink your teeth into, a market leader, specifically, as we all know, who are listening to this podcast, specifically in the WordPress sector, because no one else is really doing it. Like you said, there's a couple other plugins that do it in a different way, but this is something that you can really start to recoup that holiday money back on. I would hope.
Well, to be honest, Bertha is now paying for herself, and she has paid me back. So all of my investment has been come back over the last couple of months, which is good. And now it's a question of the money that's coming in now goes straight back into development. So we are developing something else, which I can tell you. We are building out a SaaS version. It's going to be a while because SaaS is hard. I don't care what anybody says, and it takes a lot. It takes a lot of money and a lot of investment in time and effort and learning. We want it to be as comfortable to use as anything that you would use out there. And a Chrome extension is going to be coming out as well, pretty much the same same time as the SaaS, but also the WordPress plugin. And we're celebrating this week, particularly because we're on .org, which is great. So you can install Bertha straight from your WordPress dashboard now. Just search Bertha or AI, even we come up as well under AI. Been on there for 3 days. We got 270 active,
nice
downloads just on that side, which is crazy.
Yeah. I was telling you the other day when we were chatting, I've had a friend of mine reach out, and I kind of just help him with his website. He's also my barber, so I want to make sure I get a good haircut. So I kind of help him with his site. But anyway, just like you, he dabbles in a bunch of different types of businesses, and he owns with a partner a ice cream shop, which is obviously closed now here in the Northeast, but he's getting ready for the springtime and all of that stuff. And he's like, "Hey, I want to add this content to the site. Is that something you want to do?" And I'm like, "No, this is not something that I want to do. Like this, I'm not going to be writing pages about ice creams and events that people can hold and birthday parties and all this stuff. In fact, I don't even know where to begin if I were to do something like that. But with a plugin like this, well, maybe I can kind of guide him to do it, or even take it on myself and help him out a little bit without worrying about, okay, blank canvas staring in front of me. Ice cream tastes good. You should have a birthday party here." Like I can get Bertha to prompt me with all of the lengthy content. I just kind of feed her the topic ideas and roll with it that way.
Well, she can come up with the topic ideas. So you can say, I want to talk about the history of gelato, for instance. How did gelato get started in New York? It was started, actually, I know it because it was started in New York City by a couple of Italian immigrants, and it was actually ice. They were just selling blocks of ice, and then somebody decided to flavor it, and then they decided to crush it up and mix it up, and Bertha knows all that kind of stuff. But that can, in an about us kind of page, that can help you. You got a little bit of history, and then you can go. So we decided to do our own version of gelato or whatever. Bertha helps you with your mission statement. It helps you with your PAS frameworks, which is basically I've forgotten what PAS stands for now. Let me just, because I'm excited to be on your blog, your podcast. But it's basically persuasive bullet points, product description. So you can put in this gelato is made with strawberry and fresh strawberry, and there's this in it and that in it and everything. And Bertha will actually come up with a recipe as well.
Yeah.
You can come up with anything. So she is so clever, and the power of AI and the power of the prompts. So you've got to give some kudos to Vito here, because he really dove deep into writing the prompts. And I'm not that way inclined as far as logic goes. I'm quite an illogical guy. That's why we built Bertha.
You're in the right place.
I just made it. Yeah, exactly. I just made a choice. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. And it's worked out, and it's working out for a lot of people.
I do want to poke and prod just one final question here, because It is something that's on my mind, is what happens when all the robots take over? What happens if you're an agency owner? So many of us are or might be listening to, and we do have a half a dozen restaurant clients, 12 accountants, a couple dozen lawyers. And this is crucial to maybe our copywriting service that we provide customers. Is there a way, for lack of a better phrase, to not have Bertha compete against itself or create the same content across the board? Or is that, hey, you have to make this decision as the person who wields the power of Bertha?
Well, there is some of that going on as well, but you've got to think about how AI copywriting works, and all the AI copywriting people out there, and I don't mind saying who they are: Copy AI, Word AI, Jarvis, Jasper, or Jerry will probably be the next name of Jasper. I don't know. They're all doing a fantastic job, and they're all writing things or they're all giving commands to Bertha to OpenAI in a different way, or in some different ways. But effectively, as a human being, I don't know what I'm going to say in 10 seconds time, or 3 seconds time, or a milliseconds time. I really don't. I know what I'm going to say, but I don't know how I'm going to structure it. And AI works in exactly the same way. It doesn't work word by word, or paragraph by paragraph, or sentence by sentence. It works letter by letter. So it basically creates, so it's T, what am I going to say there? And then looks at the context, and it will go there, this, that, the restaurant is in, whatever, serves Mediterranean style food, but in a different, so it will do it in a different way. So it's pretty, I would say it's plagiarism free. You can have plagiarism checkers on it, but it's every test that I've done, and I've done over 1,000 tests on all of them, not just Bertha. And I've tested for plagiarism. I've used premium plagiarism checkers as well. They have all been 100% plagiarism, because that's the way AI works. It works the same as our brain, in as much as forming a sentence, forming a paragraph, forming a story. So I have no real concerns about that. And in fact, there is, as of today, I read, there's a really great character out there that knows so much about AI, a guy called Matthew Renz, and he's a lovely chap. And I had a couple of cocktails with him in London a few months ago, and he just posted a thing that there is an AI now building AI. So it's examining all of what the AI is doing, and basically making all these neurons, these new neurons. So I think AI will power us in so many different ways other than copywriting. And I don't think copywriters need to worry. If you're a copywriter, and I know a few that rebelled against me and said, what the hell are you doing? You're putting me out of a job. And I said, well, actually, I'm not, because if you use AI to write, your copy will be better. And also you'll be able to pad it out in a better way. I spoke with a very good journalist friend of mine who writes for crypto. Now, most people know that OpenAI stopped scraping the web in 2019. And it's only scraped 10% of the web. We know how big the web is. It still knows about crypto. I built a crypto website the other day for a client in 4 hours and wrote the copy. All of it. They didn't change it. Not one word. I don't know about crypto. I do know a little bit about crypto, but I don't know the technicalities of it. So the short answer to your question is don't worry about it, because there are things that make, if a lawyer talks about his law practice or her law practice, they will talk about their law practice in a different way. And that's exactly what Bertha will do.
Andrew Palmer, hey, you're leading us to the promised land or to extinction with Bertha.ai. I'll let the consumer decide. Check out Bertha.ai. It's the fastest way to create content for your WordPress website. You can try it for free by searching for, I assume, Bertha.ai and WordPress.org. And you can give it a go for free. Start checking out what Bertha can do for you. Anywhere else you want to point folks to?
Well, I wouldn't mind. Divi users can go to wppluginsplus.com, and we still sell our plugins, obviously, on elegantmarketplace.com, because I still support those guys. They acquired me, and hopefully it will continue the success that I had with it. And go buy our plugins on elegantmarketplace.com or wpplugins.com and have a chat with me on Twitter at Arnie Palmer.
MattReport.com, MattReport.com/subscribe to join the mailing list. Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. This episode is brought to you by Malcare at Malcare.com. It's the most complete and comprehensive tool to secure and protect your high-performance WordPress website. If you're a WordPress consultant, don't leave the job of security, backup, and fixing the site when bad things happen up to your hosting provider. Trust me, you want Malcare on your side. They do it best without you even having to think about it. Sleep better at night knowing your WordPress websites, your clients' WordPress websites, are protected by Malcare. Malcare does it all, from protecting the site, backing up your files, creating staging sites, if you can believe it, and my favorite feature, the activity log. That's right, you'll know when your client or your marketing manager installed that pesky block plugin that took down the whole site. What are you waiting for? Check out Malcare.com to get started for free. That's Malcare.com, Malcare.com. Thanks for supporting the show.